Alright, something big just dropped and it's flying under the radar. Google just launched a new AI tool called Opal that lets you vibe code real web apps, and it's not some half-baked demo either. It builds full workflows you can edit, share, and remix directly from your browser. Honestly, I dive into this stuff every single day, and what I'm seeing is pretty eye-opening when it comes to how different AI models are actually being used, versus what gets hyped in the media or online. For example, DeepSeek gets a lot of buzz. Everyone talks about it like it's the viral model coming out of China and overtaking America. But in reality, DeepSeek usage is very, very small. Same with Mistral, one of the models I love the most, but again, very low usage. What I've seen, and what people often do, is they use tools like Lovable to mock up an idea or concept. It looks right, and then they give it to a developer who can tie everything together and make it function properly. Because if a bug pops up and you don't have a dev background, you probably won't know how to fix it. So far, they raised $200 million at a $1.6 billion valuation. But now, Google is stepping in, and that's exciting. With Opal, Google is letting you create mini web apps using simple text prompts. You just tell it what you want it to do. One thing I love is that you can remix existing apps. They've got a gallery of user-made tools that you can pick from, tweak, and publish. Under the hood, they're using Gemini 2.5 for the text and code, Imagen 4 for images, Audio LM for audio features, and Veo for video. So you can create multimedia web apps using the full Google AI stack. That's incredibly powerful. This is the kind of stuff I'm really interested in, especially how it's lowering the barrier for anyone to build functioning tools and apps. I think if more people start vibe coding and playing with this space, it's only going to unlock more creativity. The other side of this is how helpful vibe coding can be for prototyping. For example, I often mock up ugly designs in Canva, and then I hand it to my teammate Peter Wilson, who takes it and creates the polished version. And vibe coding with Opal works exactly like that, but for apps. You don't need to build the next $10 million product from scratch. What you do instead is express the concept. You describe the kind of tool you want, like imagine something that tracks habits and sends reminders. And Opal instantly turns that into a working prototype. It lays out the structure visually, showing logic blocks, inputs, and outputs in a flowchart style editor. That gives you a clear sense of how your app would look, function, and behave before you write a single line of code. From there, if needed, someone with technical expertise can refine it further or connect it to back-end systems. But the heavy lifting, the brainstorming, layout, and logic scaffolding is already done. Opal becomes that crappy first draft, but in app form, letting anyone move from idea to live, interactive version in minutes. So, if someone already built a quiz generator or a habit tracker, you can fork that template, make your own tweaks, and release your own version. The remix system is built right into the UI. That's where the productivity boost really kicks in. You're not replacing devs, you're just making them 10x faster. Tools like Canva, Figma, and Replit have already moved in that direction. But Opal pushes it further by making natural language the primary interface. And it's not like Google didn't have something similar before. Their AI Studio already supports prompt-based workflows for app creation. But Opal brings that down to a more intuitive, visual level. The whole idea is to make app development approachable for people who've never written a single function. Now, as of today, Opal's still in public beta, and it's limited to the United States for now. But even in this early stage, testers have already started using it to create static front-end apps like calculators, checklist tools, mini planners, and custom portfolio templates. It's not quite ready for full-scale back-end systems or real-time apps. Now, let's talk about where this fits in the larger AI space. Microsoft's been aggressively pushing GitHub Copilot across its suite. OpenAI's code interpreter, now called Advanced Data Analysis, was out there doing real-time programming. Meanwhile, platforms like Lobe and Cursor are riding the same vibe coding wave, focusing more on creativity than syntax. Opal is Google's answer to all that. It's not a dev tool. It's an access point for regular users to build things they otherwise wouldn't even attempt. And that's important because the no-code and low-code market is exploding. Now, not everything's sunshine and vibes. There's a valid concern about ownership and data control. These apps are hosted on Google servers, and they're built with proprietary models. That raises questions about intellectual property, especially if someone uses Opal to prototype a product idea or business tool. For now, it's probably best for experimentation and early concepts, not for anything mission-critical or privacy-sensitive. But overall, the vision here is clear. Lower the barrier to creation, make software feel like sketching an idea, and let AI handle the heavy lifting. It's one of the cleanest implementations of that idea we've seen so far. Now, switching gears for a second, let's talk about Google's new web guide. This might seem small, but I think it could be a big deal. Google recently said 2 billion monthly users now see AI snippets at the top of search results. I've seen it too. You search something, and instead of just links, you get an AI summary right at the top. Now, what's changing is that Google understands we're often in research mode when we search. One single answer rarely covers everything. That's why even before AI, they showed drop-downs with follow-up questions that people clicked a lot. I found myself going through those suggestions and thinking, that's what I was actually trying to ask. Now, with this web guide update, Google is grouping web pages by the questions they help answer. So instead of one summary at the top, you get grouped summaries and links for related follow-up questions too. It's like AI-enhanced topic clustering in real time. When I'm deep diving into a topic, this kind of smart organization can save time and surface better information faster. I think we're going to get used to these little upgrades really fast. Soon, we won't be able to imagine search without them. All right, now here's one last project you probably didn't hear about, but it's super clever, especially if you're into history. Google researchers just launched a model called Anias. It's trained to restore and contextualize ancient Roman inscriptions. Yep, actual Latin texts carved into stone, often damaged or half erased by time. Traditionally, historians would spend months analyzing fragments and trying to match them with similar texts to figure out what they said, when they were written, and where they came from. Aeneas does that in seconds. It can match wording, syntax, and stylistic features across more than 170,000 Latin inscriptions pulled from databases like the epigraphic database Roma and Heidelberg. It's even multimodal, meaning it looks at both the text and the actual image of the inscription. That lets it estimate geographical origin, filling in blanks where even the number of missing characters is unknown. They even tested it on Emperor Augustus's res gestae, one of the most debated inscriptions in Roman history, and Aeneas gave a probabilistic distribution of dates that perfectly aligned with current scholarly theories. So yeah, AI is not just making apps and solving math problems, it's literally decoding the past. So the question is, if AI can build full apps from prompts, are we still going to need traditional coders? Or is their role about to change forever? Comment your thought below and hit like subscribe for more AI updates like this. And I'll catch you in the next one.